Hi, this is the advisor with Stacey Chillemi, founder of the Complete Herbal Guide. And today we have Regina Gulbinas with us, and she has been on the show previously because she is just an outstanding person with a lot of valuable information to teach people, especially people who are in the working industry and are going through a lot of stress and they feel a little bit off balance and they want to try to get back on track. So Regina's here and she's going to explain some of the great things that she does and how she could actually help you. So Regina, why don't you tell people a little about yourself and what you do and give them an idea of all the great things that you could do to help people.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you for having me again back on the show. Huge compliment when people invite you back. That's for sure. That's a good sign.
It's definitely a good sign.
That's a good sign for the listener if you're bringing people back. So I've been a life and business strategist for the last 20 years. The first 17 of the 20 I have spent reorganizing failing corporations back to profitability. Of course, there was other people on board because there was a lot of it through Chapter 11 bankruptcy. So from massive millions of negative to millions in profitability. So I love it. That's a lot of fun. I still do it kind of on a down low when the people kind of find out about me and reach out. And 3 years ago, I moved into the online space 3.5 years ago, and I work with online business owners, coaches, entrepreneurs, CEOs, business, it really doesn't matter.
Right.
And I help them scale their online business to profitability, structure it correctly. So I teach them how to build a business that's an actual business, not just to make a few dollars to pay a few bills, but to actually create a sustainable, profitable, long-term brand.
I think that's great. I find, I speak to so many business owners and I find that so many of them, especially after COVID, were hit with so many stresses, being shut down and then having to start back up again, the loss of income during the time of COVID, and then trying to build themselves back up and trying to get people who would work for them. And they're finding that one problem I find is a lot of business owners are not finding good employment. The people do not want to come in. They don't want to work like they used to. And it's very hard to run a business when you don't have the proper employees. To the lack of funding during the time that they were, shut down, they lost a lot of money, but they still had to pay their bills. So they ended up financially in financial stress. And we know that what financial stress could do to a lot, mentally, physically, the whole works for a person. And people, are struggling. They're struggling to make ends meet and they're struggling to find that balance. Like, how do I get back to where I was before, and so many people just don't know how, and they're stressing out. I could see so many people I spoke with are coming down with illnesses, that are stress related because of this. So what do you say to somebody like that, that's going through all these struggles? What's step one? How do they start to get themselves back, to where they were, to get themselves, to that point again?
Yeah, really, really great question. I mean, what a way to start the show. I don't know if we'll ever get back to the way things were because everything has shifted so much. What used to be not normal is now the norm. Everybody's doing it on Zoom. You don't have to go to work anymore. People don't want to work. So everything has shifted. I honestly believe that emotional decisions are not profitable. We can't make profitable decisions from an emotional state. And the moment people's safety is threatened, and what threatens our safety? Money. Because money provides for safety. The moment that's threatened, we cannot have a clear understanding and a clear vision and a clear perspective of what's happening because we're fully operating from fear at that point. This is when I highly advise, talk to somebody, have a conversation, talk to somebody. It doesn't have to be a business coach, but somebody who can give you a different perspective and a clear picture, because there is always a solution. There's always a way to pivot. But as long as you're running on your emotions and on fear, it is not possible to see the long picture. So the first thing is, honestly, get an outside perspective. There is always a way to pivot.
Yes.
We see people succeed in the worst of times all the time because they're able to take the emotion out, they're able to think clearly, and they're able to move fast. So the first thing is have an outside perspective, see how you can shift your business. Sometimes people didn't pivot. They just stopped what they were doing and they created something else. They created something new. There is always needs in the market. There are always needs in the market to be filled. What can you fill in the market? Maybe you have to fine tune your whole business structure. Maybe you have to revise your offer or your product or your service to something that's more suitable for the market now. But also, as we're going through the financial crisis, as people are talking about the recession, these are the times, and I mentioned this in another podcast as well, these are the times that actually the strongest brands come out of, because while a lot of people are freaking out and they just kind of throw in the towel, some emotionally and mentally strong individuals are saying, okay, I understand the game, I know how this works. The worst of times create global brands. The worst of times create companies that last for generations. And this is where you decide who are you going to be after this is over? Where are you going to stand?
Now that, like you said, the audience has changed, people are, not the same. They're doing things differently. Merchandising is not the same. More people are buying online than they're going into stores right now. Things are just changing like crazy in every industry. It's like now your business, you have this structured business that was doing well at one point. Now the audience seems to be changing. Everything around you seems to be changing. How do you figure out what my new audience is? How do you take a step back and try to figure out, okay, it's not the same as it was. I'm still losing money. I'm not getting back to where I was. Maybe my audience has changed. Maybe I need to make some changes within my business. How does a person figure that out structurally? Like, so that, first, step one, how do you figure out your new audience?
Well, first of all, you got to figure out, are you really not profitable, or are you really kind of not growing or losing money because the audience has changed, or are you just not, or you need to get better at running your business, right? So that's number one. Sometimes changing from audience A to audience B, if you don't know how to run a business, you've just changed.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're going to incur the same problems here as you are going to there. So that is the first thing that I think it's important for people to understand. But then how do you know if it's changed, if you've tried everything, like literally you've trying everything that's supposed to work and you're giving it all and it's just nothing is working? So look at the market. Who are you talking to? Who are you selling to? How are you selling to them? What is the offer? Because sometimes it's not the offer. People don't know how to present their offer.
Yes.
There's so many things, there's so many variables, and we see this in the online space all the time. People struggling to sell their offers. The offer is amazing, the person selling the offer is brilliant, but nobody knows what's inside if they don't understand the packaging, what's outside.
Right.
So you look at the market. Is there a need? Is there, do people have like the coaching space, for example? There's a massive need. People spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a year on a personalized coaching. That's insane.
Right.
The amount of money that's being transacted. There's definitely a need. So in any market, there is always a need. But the first thing is to decide, am I really operating as a business owner?
Right.
Because it's like, going from one relationship where you don't know how to facilitate the relationship in a healthy way, getting into another relationship doesn't get you a better relationship. You just have another relationship that's actually as backwards. So the same thing in business. Are you really running your business correctly and well in a healthy manner? And if you are, nothing is working, maybe it's time to shift and then look at the market. Because ultimately there is a market for anything, and people sell the craziest stuff now.
Yes, they do.
Craziest things, and they're still managed to make money.
Yeah. And that blows my mind. I see that all the time. People come out with the weirdest things and they're actually doing really well because it's unique, it's different, and people are so intrigued by the uniqueness that they'll say, what the hell, let me try it, and it's amazing. Sometimes I see the dumbest products and they're making millions of dollars. And I'm like, OMG,
And it's so dumb that you would never even think about it.
Right, exactly.
Because it's so dumb. And you're like, my brain doesn't even function that way.
Right,
and
yeah.
People make millions, and sometimes it's a product for $2.99 and people make millions because they know how to get it to the masses. So it's often not even, it's often the person driving the vehicle, number one. It's really often the person driving the vehicle and being able to make profitable decisions. Like I said, a lot of the times people make decisions from emotion. People make decisions from their insecurity. People make decisions from their unhealed trauma. People just make decisions from the wrong place.
Right.
If you want to really be a real life business owner, CEO, knowing how to make decisions from what point, from what state of mind to make decisions is going to drive everything else. Because ultimately the profitability of your company is just a byproduct of the decisions you make. The company that It's like an infant of a child. They can do nothing for them. Our children are just a byproduct of what we put into them. Companies,
Yes.
same thing.
You're right. And what I think sometimes business owners get so confused is that they're so into trying to make their business succeed that they don't understand the marketing, and they let somebody else do the marketing for them. And they're running their business, but they know nothing. So they don't know if the person's doing the right thing or not. Now, I see all the time, I hear people saying it's the CEO that drives the traffic to your website. Then you hear people saying, no, it's the marketing, it's the images that you put that drive people to your web page. And some people say you don't even need a web page, you just need the right advertising. What's your point of view? What do you think draws the most profitability to a business that's either trying to sell a service or a product? Where do you see people making the most success rate, the highest one?
People that invest time, money, effort into growing brand recognition.
Brand recognition. Very
Always,
true.
because there are names out there where they can sell, oh my God, anything. And because their name is associated with quality and high standard, they can literally sell anything and people will spend insane amounts of money.
Right.
Brand recognition. And this is the thing that takes time and people don't want to invest in it.
Right. And
that makes it now. And well, do you want it now or do you want it long term?
Right, exactly. And it makes the most sense, brand recognition. When you hear about certain brands, right away, the word quality comes into your head, because they've been around for a while and they've invested so much money into that brand recognition that that if you buy it from that brand, it's going to be good.
Yes.
Now,
yes.
For small companies, how do they build that brand recognition? What's the best way for a small company that has X amount of dollars to try to focus on building a brand recognition for themselves?
Quality.
I'll
give you a great example. I'm doing a lot of podcasts now.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are messaging me saying, this person recommended you. This person said, I have now brand recognition in the podcast business environment because my name now is associated with high quality content. I just did a podcast. They emailed it to me. The guy literally wrote to me, you are the best guest we've ever had. He recommended me to somebody else. I posted the short on my social media and he put in there, high quality, Regina is the real deal. So he's recommended to somebody else with a huge audience. And I was recommended to him by somebody else with a top 1% podcast I did with them. They were blown away by the quality. They recommended me. He recommended me. My name has now brand recognition when it comes. If you want to grow your business, get this woman into your podcast. She's going to serve your audience. Brand recognition. How? Because insane amount of value, quality, and content every time that I show up. So right. It have to be with podcasts. It's just the point is people start to associate your name with high quality. So if you're a small business, people think small businesses can make a lot of money. Small businesses sometimes actually make more profit than big companies because they don't have the overhead, they don't have the staff, they don't have at how much you make. What are you left with? I've seen people make $1 million a month and left with a negative, $250,000 negative at the end of the month. And I've seen somebody make $100,000 a month in sales and be left with $30,000 pure profit when everything is said and done. So who's actually making more money?
Right.
The guy who's making $1 million and holds a negative at the end of the month, or the guy who's making 100,000, 10% of that, but has 30,000 left in the bank every single month. Exactly. Small business doesn't mean small business. It's the profitability. But for small businesses, over deliver on quality, be known as quality, because if you're known for quality, you will be able to charge more. Right. People will pay more money for the peace of mind that when you handle their product or their service, they don't have to babysit you. They will pay you more. They will pay premium price for the peace of mind that whatever they order from you is going to come back exactly as it was ordered. They don't have to babysit the process. They can hand it off to you and walk off. That costs money, and that's what people will pay for. Yes, I agree. And, so many people, I was talking to one person actually even today, and she has a small business, and she finally got rid of a huge amount of her staff. And now she's doing fabulous. She said, I got rid of my staff. I'm able to do it myself.
and the things that I was, making them do, I'm doing. And at the end of the month, I'm making so much more money because I'm paying out less. And she said, I should have did this a long, long time ago. Instead, I was hiring people to do X, Y, and Z. But then at the end of the month, at the end of the week, I was paying these people. And by the end of the month, I had very little profit, So, now that she let go of a huge portion of her staff and she didn't really need them as much, she's become very profitable in her business.
I agree. A lot of times people hire ahead of time, foreseeing the future revenue,
Yeah.
and you're spending money ahead of time before you're spending money from the future. So by the time you get to the future, you're still in the same hole that you started with. You just have more people to pay.
Right. Exactly. Now, how do you feel about testimonials? People always say you need testimonials. You need testimonials. Do you think testimonials have a lot of value to your brand recognition?
I do, especially at the beginning, but also before you get testimonials. How do you do this, right? Like you become the testimonial. It's one client at a time, one showing up at a time, one high value at a time. It's one at a time. I think testimonials are great. I think the testimonials, I mean, I use them still for my business, for my clients. When there's testimonials,
Right.
I know how to leverage them. I know how to expand on them. I know how to do all the things to draw more people into the audience with them. Yeah, I think people want to know that other people are happy with their product and the service. Absolutely. Testimonial is just another asset to help you sell what you have.
Right. Right.
It's just another asset. It's just more, it's like somebody recommended me to a podcast. That's a testimonial.
Right.
So now instead of me selling it to the person saying, I'm going to be a great guest, they messaged me, said, I heard you're the boss when it comes to certain things. I would love to have you on the podcast. Here's the link. So did the testimonial work, so to speak? Somebody putting their seal of approval on me? Absolutely. It cuts you the time, money, effort, and everything else. So they did the job for me, basically. So the testimonials a lot of times do the job for you, where you have to say, I'm great, this is what I do, blah, blah, blah. The testimonial says, Stacey is great. This is what she does. This is how she can change your life.
I feel like word of mouth is the best, form of advertising. I feel like, people could spend so much money on advertising, but really when it all boils down to it, my own opinion, I feel like word of mouth has a huge impact. It might even have a better impact, for, some of the advertising that goes on, Facebook ads, this, that, everything, but I feel like word of mouth is a fabulous way to market, especially if you're a small business, I think, and you don't have a lot of money to spend on ads. If you can get the word of mouth, if you can get the good clients, I think that brings up your brand recognition. And I think you could actually, build your business that way. Do you feel like that also?
100%. This is where people need to get creative when they say, I don't have money to advertise. You don't always need money to advertise. First of all, we have access to billions of people online for free. I mean,
yeah,
what's the challenge here, right? Show up and tell people what you do and what you got. But if you don't have money, get creative. That's part of being a business owner.
right.
And this is what I said. You create brand recognition if you don't have the capital to invest in advertising, by doing a job better than somebody else, by doing a job faster than somebody else, by over delivering. That going to somebody else instead of you next time is just feels like a stupid decision for somebody.
Right.
Because people recommending you to other people is now, when they're recommending you to their friends with whom they have credibility, they're doing the advertising for you. But again, because organic marketing takes time. It's like building a relationship with your best friend or falling in love with a lover. It takes a few minutes. It doesn't happen overnight.
Definitely.
And this is what the people don't want to do. They're like, I want it now. Again, do you want it now or do you want it long term? So you don't need a lot of money. If you don't have it, my personality is, I'm highly resourceful. If we don't have it, we're not even going to worry about not having it. We're going to figure out a way to get it done.
Yes.
So, okay, you don't have the capital to do it. Let's put it to the side. What do you have? Time capital? Do you have knowledge? Do you have people that you know? Can we pay affiliate commission? Can we get referrals? Can we, how can we leverage the audience of other people? All of the things. That don't get stuck on what you have, what you do not have. Use and leverage to the max what you do have. It may be one or two things.
Right.
One or two things.
Now, what about these businesses, especially like practices? Like, I see a lot of people, they're just so busy with their clientele, or they're busy with their patients, and they just don't have time to, build their brand recognition up, and they end up spending tons of money on marketing. Are there ways that a doctor or a patient, can actually build up their recognition without spending tons of money too?
Usually a doctor should have somebody who runs the office and does that stuff. A doctor is not a business owner.
Right.
A doctor is not a business owner.
Okay.
A lot of these people are not business owners. They're really, 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 really good at what they do. They can't be a doctor and an effective business owner at the same time. I
Right.
believe people or great attorneys.
Yes.
Their job is to be an attorney.
Exactly.
They're not business people. So stick to what you know. You're not saving money by not hiring people. You're wasting money. You're not getting the clients. I think it's silly when people think they can do it themselves. Why do it yourself? If doctors, attorneys, therapists, places like that, you're not a business owner. Like,
Right.
no need to be a hero. Get somebody who can help you. That's just the reality. You can't.
Yeah.
We all have our strengths.
Right.
I would never be a great doctor. I would never be a good attorney. I'm not great with line items. I'm really good with global operations. So I stick to what I know. But for me to do all the line items, I have somebody helping me with administration and all of that. I'm not going to even try to do that because I'm just going to blow up my whole business. That's not my strength. So know what you're good at, and then get people to support you in other areas, because running a business is a full-time job. Just the infrastructure of a business is a full-time job. And if you as a doctor hire somebody to even do paid ads for you, and you're not a business owner, so now you can't clearly tell them what you actually need from a business infrastructure. They're just running ads to without knowing who they're running to. Now you've just given away tens of thousands of dollars. Return, and you're like, what's wrong? Well, the only thing that's wrong is you don't have the right support by you that says, okay, this is what needs to be done. Right. So if you're in a professional, a doctor, attorney, on things like that, no need to be a hero. Right. Help you.
And I found that people that do that, they burn out, and then they're just, they think they could do it all. They try to do it all, but like you said, it leads to burnout. And then how good of a doctor or attorney or, a coach can you be when you're totally burnt out, and you see that happen all the time.
But what's the point of trying to do it all yourself? To say, there's no medal of honor that says, great job, you're stressed out, you're out of your mind. I mean, there's no pat on the back and says, good, you're like 2 minutes away from death because you're exhausted. I mean, why do that? I don't understand why people do that.
Right.
No, like I said, no need to be a hero. Know what you're good at. Stick what you're good at. I suck at a lot of things. I really, really do. I'm excellent at building businesses and helping people create a quality of life that they're absolutely obsessed about. And I understand money and I understand people. So anything that's not in that category, I just don't touch it. I sub it out.
Right.
I don't want to know how it's done. I don't even want to try to understand how it's done. That's not my strength. I shine where you shine. And there's enough qualified people that you can get to help you with that. And you'll grow faster. You'll be happier.
And, I also found that a lot of people talk about the Google business page, and they say that Google business page can help excel your business, if you build it up. Now, how do you have any takes on that about Google business page, or, how effective it is?
I have no idea what that is to begin with.
Oh, okay. On Google, they have a page where you can make a personalized page of your business. You could put pictures, you could put all that other good stuff. And so it's kind of like your own ad on Google, about your business. You kind of walk into the business and see what it's all about. But, they in the marketing world, they make a big deal about that. But, I'm like, how effective is that really?
So I want to say something to that. This is interesting. These are all just tools.
They're all tools, yes.
People still have to drive traffic to that. You still have to sell at the end of the day.
100%, yes.
I've had people tell me, I have a sales page and I have this and I have that and nothing is working. Well, it's a tool. If you have a tool in your toolbox and you don't know how to use it, it's just a great, nice little shiny thing in your toolbox.
Yeah. And sometimes I find like too many tools can be overwhelming. And how do you spread your time? Again, someone that's trying to do it all, being the magical person, you can only spread yourself so far, and you could have so many tools, but it's not going to work, I
Yes.
like the thing where you talk about brand recognition. I think that actually is a number one quality. You know,
100%.
I think that that's something people really should look into, is building their brand recognition. Now, if you had to give like 3 pointers to a small business, how would you tell them to start building up their brand recognition?
uh if they don't have the capital to invest, number one, okay, so leverage social media. I don't care what you're selling, for the most part, leverage social media. It's free. I
Right.
don't understand when people are walking around saying I don't know what to do. It's free. Like, you have
Yeah.
it for free. If this here's the crazy part. If social media was paid, everybody would be flocking to social media trying to use it. But
Right.
because it's free, no, again, this is why I tell people, charge people top dollar, because nobody appreciates free information. Nobody cares when it's free. The
Right.
more skin in the game, the more they pay attention. So number one, leverage social media. You all have knowledge and expertise that you're selling. Be consistent. Like, I'm on social media every single day. My clients always come and say, you have such a strong presence on social media. It's a free platform. Why wouldn't I
Yeah,
use it? Like,
exactly.
so be very, very consistent. Provide high value. Be recognized as top tier value provider. Don't you want to be known for the value? And another way is to leverage your current clients, leverage their audience, pay people commission, pay people referrals, thank people. So I mean, for my courses, for example, I give people 50% of the top for referrals. So
Right.
I've got some courses like the $3,000, $4,000. People love it.
Yeah.
They're like, you're paying so much, why do you give so much away? They've done all the marketing and advertising for me. They're bringing people, and I don't care, I'll give them 50% of the top.
Exactly.
I am happy to pay people. So have referral structure. Leverage social media. Be insanely consistent. Nothing will ever beat consistency. And quality. Here is the thing that I want to say, is that a lot of people focus on a sale but not the client retention.
Yes.
A lot of people focus on a sale. I understand, and this is what I really want to get across, is this: people see the sale as the end of the transaction. Okay, I got the sale. I teach my clients the sale is the beginning of the relationship. The sale is not the end of the transaction. The sale is the beginning of the relationship, because getting people in, if they're not happy, if there is no transformation, if there's no quality, if there's no value, not only are they not coming back, but people are more likely to talk crap than
Yes.
say good things about you.
100%.
There's negative testimonials just as much as positive. People talk more crap than the good stuff. So what's the client retention?
Right.
Focus on client retention. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts, but understanding that the sale is the beginning of the relationship, not the end of the transaction, is
Right.
a huge mindset, because once your mind understands it, you begin to show up like that. Okay, now the sale is done. Now let me hyper focus on the transformation. So, and I see insane yield from that. Like, my client retention is high. Like, people stay with me for years in the online space, because it's really unheard of. People go from program to program normally, one coach to another. I have people that are still with me that I started 3.5 years ago with, and they're still in all masterminds and private coaching over and over and over again. Why? I'm not just focused on a sale. That's the beginning. I am so focused on the relationship. I'm so focused on equality. I'm so focused on nurturing the whole thing, that new come in and the old stay. So it exponentially grows.
And I think that's a great point, because I get those comments too. It's like, oh my God, you're so sincere what you do. You care so much. And I think that goes a long way. You know, when someone just wants the dollar bill and they just grab that dollar bill, and then you don't see them again, or you don't hear from them for months, you know, that the value of that person goes downhill. And then word of mouth, you know, people talk crap about the person, you know, how they just wanted my money, blah, 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 blah. You know, and the people say, oh, but negative advertisement is good too. You know, it could be good. I don't know about that. You know, they say it could bring attention, but you know, when you go on, let's say you go on an Amazon page and you see, you know, 300, you know, reviews, and 40% of those reviews are negative reviews. How much, you know, how much likely are you going to actually buy that product? You know, you're going to think twice, you know? So, you know, maybe 1 or 2 crazy reviews might catch someone's eye, but when you have a lot of negative reviews, most likely that person is going to sway away from you and whatever you're trying to sell, you know?
100%. It also depends what you're selling, right? You don't want like a family therapist that's broken up 25 times. You're like, that's the guy I want to help me.
Yeah, Exactly. Exactly. Good point.
You don't want to talk about a doctor who's lost 50% of their patients to, an unfortunate events. So you really have to be careful with that as well. But that's all built over time. And this is one thing. This is, I want it now. And I tell clients, listen, great love doesn't happen overnight. Great relationships, friendships don't happen overnight. Good clients, relationships are built over time.
Right.
Now it's people are selling, get results in 5 seconds, make $100,000 a month, in 5 minutes, but that's not the truth.
Right.
You can't lose 20 pounds in 5 days by eating a hamburger. And if anybody sells you and you buy that, then you deserve the results that you won't get. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you have to be discerning. You have to be discerning, but investing the time, intentional time, into what you're doing. It's like, again, I always compare it to either being a parent or having an intimate relationship with your partner. When you show up present, you're there, it's intentional, your partner feels it, your children feel it.
Yes.
So do your clients, because at the end of the day, we're God-made creatures and we want to feel seen, we want to feel heard, we want to feel important.
Yes.
Always talk about the fact that we miss the basic human principles. I don't care what you sell, who your client is, the basic human needs, not just wants, but needs, are all the same.
Yes.
We all want to feel important. We all want to feel seen. We all want to feel heard. So it doesn't matter what you sell. If you can make your clients and your audience feel like they're important, they're a human being, you see them, you hear them, you're not just brushing them off, don't you think people are going to come back over and over and over and over again and bring other people with them? Of course.
100%. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I wanted to ask you, because we were talking about this before. Now we're talking about businesses, we're talking about brand recognition, building the small business up, saving the people, and helping people actually focus on what's important. Now, how does a person, their work balance? People get so caught up sometimes in the wrong things, and they get so stressed out because things aren't working the way they think in their mind it should work out. How does a person find that equal balance so they can actually enjoy life and build a profitable business at the same time? Because what's the point of putting all your energy into a business, getting so stressed out and just focusing on that business, but then you're not focusing on the family that you have, or maybe the things in life that are important to you? You have to have that balance. How would you say to a business owner, someone that's running a business, you also need to renew yourself at the same time in order to succeed?
So I don't know if it's possible to have 100% balance 100% of the time. Sometimes your family needs you a little bit more. Sometimes your business needs you a little more. So if you've got family, first of all and foremost, make sure you've got a partner who understands what it means that you're running a business. Number one. Yeah. Because otherwise it's just going to be it's not going to work. You can't. It's not going to be a family. It's not going to be a business. But I think a lot of people lack balance because they lack clarity. Yeah. They have the shiny object syndrome. They're busy. Most people are busy and not productive. Right. Two very different things. I see that a lot. I am busy all day. What are you doing? I don't know. I've literally had clients tell me, I don't know. I've been busy. Nothing is really done, because you're doing crap that doesn't matter. Right. Watching, what are your hands? And I tell my clients, if you're at the top of the business, like if you're the decision maker, if it doesn't make you money, don't touch it. Exactly. Do it. Stop touching. Not everything needs your fingerprints. Maybe 2 or 3 things actually need your fingerprints and your decision-making ability on it. If it doesn't make you money, give it to somebody who's better at it. Right. Your job is to create a business. So number one, people lack clarity. And without clarity, you don't have a structure. So they're just running around doing a little bit of everything every single day. Yeah. Number two, lack of focus, because they think this thing is going to work, this thing is going to work, this thing. And they're like, oh my God, holy crap, nothing works. Of course it doesn't. You haven't planted anything and watered it long enough for it to act. Like you kill the seed before you plant it. Like, stop doing it. And again, that all creates lack of structure, because if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't know where you're going, if you're constantly doubting yourself, it means you keep changing the course, and you're like the ship you can see in a cartoon that's just stuck, going in circle, round and round, because you don't know what you're doing. So a lot of the burnout comes from lack of clarity and lack of structure. That's it. And that comes from lack of belief that you can achieve what you actually want to achieve. So you keep changing course every 5 minutes. Yeah. So the conversation is always the same. You will never grow past your mindset blocks.
Right.
So what is the solution? Work on yourself, work on your mind, work on all of the things. Like in my business and with my clients, I keep everything stupid simple. And somebody asked me this morning, she goes, how do I do this? How do I do that? I said, whatever's the shortest path to getting you to move and get you to activate and start selling the offer. Whatever's the shortest path.
Right.
You have 25 steps. Let's take out the 24. What do you need to do? Show up and tell people about it. Boom, done.
Yes.
That's it. Whatever is the shortest path to getting you to the outcome, that's the thing. People start complicating it and making this into a rocket science project because they think the steps, the tools, the bells and whistles is what gets them the results. And this is what we just talked about a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
Tools are just the tools.
Right.
I have no sales pages. I don't use my website because I don't believe that you need it. The moment you believe you need the bells and whistles, you're going to focus on that. My days are very simple.
Yes.
Very simple. I do some podcasts. I do marketing, advertising all day long because I have a strong presence online. I sell every single day. I'm a business. I'm not ashamed of it. I hope everybody sells every single day. I serve every single day. And I talk to my clients in the messaging app or on our calls all day. I mean, you cannot get more simple than that.
Yeah.
That's it. Because I don't believe that I need everything else.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's excellent advice. Excellent. I think that's the problem, is that people are focusing on too many different things because they don't have a clear clarity. And I think that is I think the strongest point that in our entire discussion, I think it all boils down to having clarity. What works and what is going to make you money, and focus on that. Because if you focus on trying to have a beautiful website, all your energy is going to go into that website. And before you know it, it's 5, 6 o'clock, you're drained and you can't focus on the things that actually make you money, and it's really very simple. Like you said, focus on the things that can make you money and do the simple things that will draw the traffic to have people want to purchase your service or your product, and make it that simple. I love it. I love it.
100%. And I think also, that what I realized with clients and just for myself, kind of observing people over the years, when we're confident in our abilities, we don't need to rely on the bells and whistles and tools.
Yes, I agree.
The more confident we are, the more we understand that we are the product, that we are the biggest asset company, the less we need everything outside of us. I believe, I firmly stand after 20 years that I'm excellent at what I do. I risk of sounding arrogant, but I have 20 years of evidence of that.
Right.
Because I believe that, and I believe that the only thing I need to really create great results for my clients is myself and my brain.
Right.
I automatically don't feel like I need the other stuff. Maybe later, if I feel like it, if I really have qualified people doing it, I'm never going to touch technology if my life depended on it. That's not my thing. I hate it. I have the technological skills of a 2-year-old. I use an iPhone, and I still have my kids sometimes helping me with whatever stuff. So I don't touch what's not mine. But because I believe I am the greatest asset, because I have 20 years of historical evidence of the main asset of what I do, nothing else has the power over my abilities.
Right.
Not stage, not this, not that. I literally show up through my cell phone every single day, and it's working just fine. So the moment the more you're confident in your abilities, the more you're confident and secure in who you are and what you do and the transformation you provide, the less you will need, the less you will believe that you will need.
Right. Now, do you try to sell through your podcast, or do you try to put a little bit on your Facebook or social media because that's free?
I don't have my own podcast.
Oh, I thought you said you had your podcast. Oh, you show up on people's podcasts. That's what you meant.
Yeah. Oh, no, I show up and I sell on social media every single day. My Facebook, my Instagram, my stories. I sell every single day with zero shame, multiple offers per day.
Excellent. I like that.
I'm here 7 days a week telling you exactly what I have. I have an offer. I have a one-on-one. I have this and that. Zero shame. I'm a business. I treat it like a business.
Now, let me ask you a question. A lot of times people have their own personal websites, and then they have their pages. And people always say, don't put your sales on your personal page. Only put it on your business page on let's say like Facebook. Do you believe in that? Or do you say just throw it around to the people that you think are going to be most interested?
Well, technically by the rules, you're not supposed to sell on your personal. Also, everybody sells on their personal because business pages get no engagement because they
Right,
won't spend the money on the advertisement.
right. So what do you do? Do you put it on your personal page?
Only personal. I don't use my business. I have got it there. I haven't checked in like in a year.
Because I myself, I get the most engagement on my personal page. And I have so many people following my personal page. But, the rules of marketing tell you differently. So, but I
Okay,
find
so this
differently.
is the thing. But this is such a great point. Who made up the rules?
Exactly. I don't even know who the hell made up the rules. They were just studies done in the course of decades, put together.
Okay, that's fine, but I kind of like selling. I sell in personal, I sell in stories, I tell people what I have, I email my list, I tell my current clients there is a new offer. You should get in there. Also, the power of brand recognition. So here's what I want to say. When I tell my clients, for example, you need to be in this particular offer,
Yeah.
the time they buy without question. What I want to say to that is they know that I will never tell them to get into an offer if it's not for them.
Right.
That is the power of brand recognition. That is the trust.
And I like that because you know what? They are I'm not even going to mention their names, but they are really powerful speakers out there. And they are, powerful coaches out there. And they will taunt the hell out of you. They will have people who sell for them and they won't leave you alone. And, those people kind of turn me off. Like I could like the message they're getting across, but they're so aggressive in how they sell that you get to the point where you gotta get turned off. But if someone opens up an opportunity and they don't pressure you, but yet they show you the options and what they could do for you, I find that much more appealing than aggressive sellers.
Yeah, I'm not an aggressive seller. People know that if I'm saying that you need to be in this offer, they know that I didn't message every person that I know. They know
Right.
that a lot of them, because I've always been like that. I don't want I've actually had people try to join some of my programs like masterminds or private, and I literally told them that's not the best fit for you. While I could make 3-4 times more money, I don't take people on just to take them on. You know what I mean? So, and
Right.
I told them the mastermind is not for you, but the program at 10% of the cost is actually free. And people ask me like, why do you do that? Because I'm like, they don't belong there. Why would I want to take somebody's money? And then energetically there's an alignment. They don't belong there. I don't feel good about having somebody pay me. If I
Yeah,
what kind of a mentor am I, right? So
exactly.
but that is the power of the brand. So when you actually can tell people this course is free and they're like, oh my god, how do I pay you whatever amount, because they already know they're going to get the value. This has taken 3.5 years, but if
Yeah.
patient enough to do this, I am telling you, your life will change. Your life will change. And people are like, I don't want to do 3 years for. If you don't do these things anyways, 3 years from now, you're going to be where you are right now anyways. So why not
Exactly.
now in being consistent, in being providing value, in doing all of those things? Serve every single day, sell every single day. I do a lot of free master classes and clients are messaging me saying, why aren't you charging for this? You should be paying money, because my master
Yeah.
classes are quality of an offer. I'm like, I don't mind doing it for free. People
Right.
buy at the end of it anyways, because they're like, holy crap, if that's for free, what is she going to do for paid? So give people value. Don't withhold. They're not,
Right.
if you're withholding now, they're not going to buy from you later.
Exactly.
They're not going to do it. So give people, if you're doing it for free, give people, but create a name for yourself so that when you come out with stuff, with offers, with product and services, people know that this name means quality, value, transformation.
Excellent. I love that. I love that. And I think when people see that you're being honest and you're not trying to sell them something that they don't need, they're more likely to come back and become repeat customers and try different things that you're doing, and I love that. I love that. I love that
Absolutely.
idea.
And they're not afraid to tell other people about you.
Yes,
They're not
exactly.
afraid to tell other people about you. And that is the best referral. The
Oh,
best.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Before we go, I would just, if you have anything to tell the audience, people, small businesses, people who are trying to, maybe get into the business and trying to build that brand recognition, or people who have their minds all over the place because they're trying to, get that business back that they had before COVID. And we mentioned it's never going to happen, but they're trying to build up a new business. Do you have any like last pointers or last tips that help people really think about, things they could start to do to actually put them on the right track?
Get mentorship.
Yeah,
Here is the thing. You don't know what you don't know.
right.
And it doesn't matter how much I know after 20 years of doing everything I do, I still have blind spots. I
Oh,
still need
100%.
to have questions. I still need sometimes, I'll even tell my friends sometimes, let me say this to you, say it back to me so I can hear it outside of my head.
Yes,
Because you need that. And again, you don't know what you don't know. So
exactly.
honestly, get support. The smartest people in the world have mentors for multiple
Yes.
areas of their life. So if they do, we probably need it too.
100%. I agree. And you know what, people, it's not a weakness. Everybody needs a mentor, because we only use 10% of our brain, and sometimes having an unbiased opinion, someone outside the box can make a big difference in your life, in
I
many
want
ways.
to say something to that. You said it's not a weakness. A lot of people think that asking for help is a form of weakness. I don't know,
Yes.
and all that stuff. I will tell you that real leaders, real CEOs, like real entrepreneurs, that is the first thing that they hire
Yes.
because they understand it's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of wisdom.
Yes. 100%.
And knowing your strengths and knowing where you need help and being able to set down your ego and being able to raise your hand and say I need help, that's a sign of wisdom. It's not a
Yeah.
sign of weakness, it's a sign of wisdom. And that's what separates employees from the people that actually run the businesses.
Yes. 100%. 100%. I think that's a great tip for somebody, excellent tip. An excellent tip. Regina, it's been a pleasure having you as always. And you know what? Like I said last time, please come back, and share some more of your wisdom, because I love having you. I love your conversations. I love the input you put in. You give a lot of really great advice and good knowledge, that I think is going to be very beneficial and help a lot of people out there. So thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate your time and for everything that you've, inputted in this conversation. Thank you.
I had a great time. And thank you for the invite back. You see, this is the testimonial. This is it. This is
Yeah,
it. I had a blast, and I hope it serves everybody who's going to listen. Thank you.
I'm sure it will. Thank you. And you have a great day.